What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to GmiasWorld, and right now we're going to be talking about me going back to the old way, bro. Like, listen, it's wild and it's savage, but I don't care anymore. I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through what I'm talking about. We have changed the playbooks, new players. We got rid of Albert Hainsworth because at this time we don't really need two of them based on the scheme that we're going to be primarily running in. So we brought back Bryant Young as one of the backups, but Michael Pierce is a whole lot of man at 360, so he's going to go ahead and stay there. The dude is almost a full circle. So we're going to go ahead and leave that the way that it is, and I know you guys can see already a lot of the threes, so we're back to the whole one step ahead. Now, let me explain to you guys what's going on. You don't have to run odd. I just want to make sure you guys understand that. This is the primary thing, and a lot of you guys that that watched the competitive series, you either saw a lot of deep route KO with Acrobat, or you saw one step aheads in certain avenues. What is the importance of that, right? Yesterday I was talking about rage selling Nnamdi, but the thing about Nnamdi is this, right? A lot of you guys that were still, yo bro, he's 6'3", he's 6'3". Depending on how you utilize Nnamdi, he can be a real trash can player. Because all the stuff that you're looking at right there, the 99s across the board, that's all fake unless you have a proper ability. Now, this is what I've been arguing for a very, very long time. Some of you guys are starting to come around and understand because I've been arguing this since the beginning of Madden this year for 21. When are they going to let the attributes count? Technically, these players should evolve into certain players that don't need abilities. Like, when you start off early, right? I told you guys this. I understand if Nnamdi is like an 89 overall, I understand putting one step ahead on him. You see what I'm saying? Just hear me out real quick. If you put one step ahead on an 89 overall card because he can't meet the attributes that are necessary, I understand. But once a card gets to that point where they're getting 99s, I think that they should be able to update the card. I think they have the technology to do that because they've shown us that they can tune the game at the drop of a hat. The players should evolve, especially with the power-up. If we're wasting all this training, they should be able to get natural abilities without it being counted as you having to actually add the ability on. And that's what I think they're going to have to start doing in the future, because none of this really makes sense. None of what this shows makes any sense in the game, because I've proven it. I went out there with just universal coverage and you saw that nothing really matters. They just stand there like idiots. So what does it mean about the card? Other than the speed and the acceleration, nothing else really matters. So you have to be smart enough to understand that as you build your team and look to other players, because I was going to actually still get Revis. Now that we're running the one step aheads again, as I continue to explain, Revis has really good numbers and he doesn't have to be an outside guy. He can be a guy from the inside, but just remember, like, I want you guys to understand this. If you get players that motion and try to do the motion glitch and they hit you with it once, you have to base align, which is like triangle and to the right on the analog stick on PS4 or PS5, and on the Xbox is going to be Y. Y and the analog stick to the right or left to like base align, because you're going to have to put your guys back. That's still in the game. EA unfortunately still didn't patch it, but they probably told the competitors that if they get caught doing it, they're going to be thrown out of the tournament. So it's nothing that you can really do about it. That part of it is still in the game. I just want you guys to understand, man coverage is dangerous, but so is zone. Because zone with all the cover 3 beaters, the cover 2 beaters, the cover 4 beaters, there's a lot of stuff. This game is primarily made for man coverage. And even though I went away from this earlier, I understood. I just wanted to try something new. For me, I'm going to run the odd defense and pretty much just have these guys out there with 4 of them, and then GG's. We watch the halfback or the tight end help out with a little bit of stuff, and we're good to go. Because the players right now are so good, you should be able to put yourself in a situation where your opponent has to make the right read or it's an interception. All right, so I just wanted to point that out. When you look at Nnamdi's numbers, I played like 2 or 3 games with the 4 one-step aheads, and I won all of them in Weekend League. We're going to continue Weekend League a little bit later on over there on Twitch with the way that it's been working out. And, probably with the way that this is, probably with the way that everything is starting to formulate, everybody has to understand a few things, right? This is very, very important that the players that you're using, they correspond to what you actually want to do. It is very, very important. Okay, so don't put yourself this is something that everybody has to understand when they're doing it, because I know there's gonna be a lot of people that are saying to me, yo, Gmia, what about, if you're gonna use one step ahead, you really don't need Nnamdi, right? You guys are absolutely correct. Now you're starting to understand, but the problem is you still have to make sure that you meet the criteria for your theme team. That becomes a very, very interesting thing. Meeting the criteria for your theme team and doing this can be rather difficult for a lot of you guys that don't have a Niner theme team. The Niners have an overwhelming amount of people that you can put on the team, and you can be over to make sure you get stuff done. Even with like the lockdown, I can put certain numbers on other players to give them more pass rush and stuff, but I don't believe that those numbers are real. It's just to be exciting to show you guys like, yo, look at this. It's not like it's gonna give me impact on the field. The one thing that I've learned though, this guy Michael Pierce, because he's so big and wide, he makes an impact by just being on the field. Not that he's good, not that he's shedding, not that he's doing anything else. He's 360 pounds. So they don't just move him out the way like they were doing, Justin Smith or even Michael Strahan. He actually stands there solidly and gets the job done. So those are just some of the things that I wanted to really touch base with, before I continue to go into that. You're gonna need a D tackle that's just heavy and wild and savage, and just have him there. Everybody else at your skill positions, the Ricky Jacksons, Lawrence Taylor, they're gonna have to make this work. All right, so look, Nnamdi, Rod Woodson, Richard Sherman, and Jimmy Ward. Now look, this is something that's very, very interesting about Jimmy Ward, because I didn't even realize that this guy has a 97 press at free safety. So when I looked at his numbers, I'm like, yo, this dude is garbage. He's 5'11", he's gonna get mossed, whatever. He actually presses dudes pretty well with that 97 press. But look, this is just something that I labbed. I labbed it in Weekend League. It worked 2 or 3 times. And I understand the way that the value of the cards with the one step aheads and all that stuff. Obviously, we've done this before, but now we're doing it with better players, more speed, more acceleration, higher zone, higher man. So you're gonna get different results. But just remember, when you play against guys that got route tech, they got different routes. They're motioning guys on in routes. They're motioning across with the crossers. At the snap, depending on the player, they are going to be wide open. All right, they're going to be wide open. It is up to your user when you're playing man coverage to make sure that you're making these plays. I cannot stress this enough. This is not something to where you just get it and you just sit in 2-man under and have a good time. Okay, now a lot of players that you play, they do get away with doing that because you guys don't adjust. I've told you guys several times, you have to run the ball, and you have to run the ball out of shotgun. Because if you come out under center, what happens with one step aheads is this, right? If you come out and you're under center, for some reason, if you play someone that knows how to shoot the gap, you're done. It's over. Everybody is boosted, so you can't really throw the ball from under center, and they're just shooting right down the middle with under center. So that's not going to help you. You're going to have to, either you're going to go out and have a lot of nasty streaks and just run the ball against this, or you're going to have to run, shotgun, run some trap runs, run some inside zone, run some counters, and stuff like that to kind of open it up so that they can't just sit in 2-man under and press you and have one step ahead, because it becomes real hell, especially when they have a safety that can sit on the tight end and take away those smart routed corner routes or those crossers. You're not going to get a lot of success with that. So Jimmy Ward probably won't be the end guy that we have this on. I would like to probably sit him in at sub linebacker, you know what I'm saying, and put maybe go get Revis and make Revis be one of the players that have one step ahead, because he's probably going to be unbelievable with it. But that's just an option. That's something that we have to think about later. All right, guys? But one of the other things, Rod Woodson, we all know he's garbage. Like, it's not even a question. This is the thing that's really interesting about this game, though. When he first came out and we looked at his numbers, we were like, wow, dude. Wow, this guy is pretty good. And then all of a sudden, the dude just became a trash heap. And all of you guys got horror stories. If this is your first time watching the GmiasWorld video, you're probably going to drop a horror story. You're going to be like, yo, listen, bro. Like, yeah, this is crazy. It's crazy, bro. But listen, I'm gonna tell you this right now. All of the things that are here, everything that's going on with it, all you're gonna have to do is understand this. The one step aheads is going to take away a lot of what your opponent is doing. Number one, let me go ahead and break this down to you guys. All those curl routes, look, dude, it's getting picked and it's going back for 6. The funny thing about this is this. I told you guys about this before I actually went away from it and started running big nickel. When you run zone, it becomes a little bit more complex when you get a guy that just wants to run hitch routes all the way down the field. When you run a more man-to-man concept, you have to be able to quickly turn different players into man coverage. Because sometimes when you come out of 2-man under, your user is lined up against the running back or the tight end. And you got to quickly, adjust it and make sure that that player is now manned up. Another player is now manned up with the tight end or the running back. But just hear me out though, right? A lot of these idiots that run hitch routes all the way up the field, if you're manned up with 1 step ahead, it's going back for 6, right? Because as soon as they go to do it, the computer automatically jumps it. So even though it states, when you look at the 1 step ahead, like even with a guy like Richard Sherman, when you look at it and you see like, okay, it helps with the quicker cuts, there's not a cut with a hitch. It's just a quick stop and they turn around. But they react to it like a lot better. It might have been part of the patch because prior to this, you were still able to get away with it. And sometimes you'll still get dotted because the ball will go through your body and there's nothing you can do about it. The game is made like that for the ball to go through your body. But with stuff like this, notice that most of my players, or even the 2 outside guys, they have 99 press. So if I'm pressing them, you're gonna have the advantage of sending blitzes out of regular nickel, nickel wide. And a lot of these defenses that are out there, you can actually send pressure with these 1 step aheads now, and you will hold the guys up at the line if your players have the suitable amount of press. All right, so looking at Richard Sherman and these guys, I know he's a 98 speed, but he's strong and he has 99 press. All right, so this is what we're going with right now. Jimmy Ward may be changed, but this is where we're gonna be. This is gonna be our new defensive scheme for now. We're gonna probably stick with it for a little bit to see how it works because the game really is designed for man coverage, and it has been since the launch. And they've actually tuned man coverage a lot because when it first came out, it was ridiculous. All the superstar X Factors shut down on Dion, shut down on Derwin, Devin White, unstoppable force, because you got to have them having something out there with the way that the game is. And if you're able to get sacks with Devin White out of the odd, giving them unstoppable force will open up everything else for Ricky Jackson and Lawrence Taylor, because those guys will naturally shed. So this is something that I would like for you guys to take a look at. Let me know if you have any other questions or comments, but it definitely does work. Join me on Twitch at GmiasWorld a little bit later, and let me know what you think, bro. We're going to go out here and ball out. We were doing this before, but now we're back. We have to adjust every single day, guys, because they patch the game every single day. I'm going to see you guys and girls next time. You enjoy your day. One love, y'all.